Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, February 17th, and welcome back to the Nick Watkins Show. I'm Nick Watkins. Let's get into it. Today, we have a very interesting topic to discuss. So, I just want to ask you guys whatever you got to do, put it on 2x speed, put it on in the background. Don't click off this video because I think it's going to be a good one. We have a very interesting topic. I'm talking to you, especially Aaron, Mister. I want to know more about baseball. So let's get into this one. Let's just jump right in. Don't want to waste any time. Today we're going to be discussing Tony Vitello's comments during his manager media session yesterday. They were very odd. It's a very unusual situation, and we're going to talk about the literal sense of what happened and also what it means for the future for him and for the Giants. So let's get into it. If you don't know who Tony Vitello is, he is the new manager of the San Francisco Giants. He was the manager at Tennessee, the University of Tennessee baseball program, where he built them from basically nothing into a national powerhouse, national champion D1 baseball program. He was hired by the Giants in October to be their new manager, succeeding Bob Melvin after he was fired. And it's the first move of its kind to have a manager, college manager with no professional experience, immediately jump to the very top of the coaching staff and be the manager of a professional Major League Baseball team. And there are definitely questions and skepticism about it, and it's understandable. But personally, I think he's a great guy. I mean, if you see his personality, he's a big personality. He's a charming guy. He's just a positive guy. I'm really happy he's our manager, and I'm really looking forward to the season getting started. Some people don't share that opinion, but that's besides the point. But I want to talk about what he said yesterday, the very odd comments he made in his media session. So basically, what had happened was he had given an interview to Ken Rosenthal, who, if you don't know who he is, he's the bow tie guy, sideline reporter for the Fox Baseball, and he's also a writer, a very, he's a big media presence in baseball, and he essentially wrote an article with Andrew Bagley, who covers the Giants, 4 days before Tony Vitello was actually hired on October 18th, saying that the article is on October 18th, and he said that um, the Giants were closing in on signing Vitello or on hiring Vitello, and immediately after Tony Vitello had given an interview to Ken Rosenthal, this was yesterday, he walked over to the dugout immediately, and he turned to his left and asked one of the reporters, Susan Slessor, who I'm a big fan of. She's a great writer, asked, um, when did you think that I was getting hired by the Giants? And she said about 4 days before it actually happened. And then he said, well, that's interesting. It's not the case. And then he went on a like rant slash ramble about his problems with the article. He basically aired out everything he was feeling at that current moment. And he talked about how it was not the case. It was still very uncertain about what he was going to do, and that article coming out amplified that. And he was in a very, it was a very rough time trying to deciding if he was going to leave Tennessee or, stay. And he basically aired out his all of his problems with that. And he said that I believe he said something like, um, the course of history could have been changed if he knew who wrote that article. And it was kind of shocking, because this is not something you typically hear anybody talk about. A lot of times people just, say stuff, to try and not cause any drama, but it was clearly, he was not happy. And he was very emotional at that time, and he just aired it out. He said the truth, and there are many implications for that. But I mean, where to start? Where to start? It was clear that he was pretty agitated. I mean, giving the interview to Ken Rosenthal directly before it does have implications on that, because Rosenthal is one of the guys who've been criticizing the move and say that he hasn't earned it. And I Ken Rosenthal, he never rubbed me. Oh, it's okay. He never I never really bought into like I don't know. I just always thought something was up with him. Gosh, I hope Grant's not watching. Um, gosh, he always seemed a little bit off to me. I don't know what it is, but I guess Vitello was very agitated by that, and it brought up some you know issues I guess with him, and he was feeling very emotional, and he immediately went over and he just said what he said, and it's a very odd situation. I don't think it's a negative situation. I think there are a couple small positives, but overall, it's just a very it's intriguing, it's unique, and it's very odd. The fact that the manager just spoke his mind like that. I guess we'll go to there first because there are a lot of points to be made here. But you know, I think it's good that one of the positive parts about this is that he told the truth. He spoke his mind. He was vocal about what he was actually feeling. And in that moment, although it might not have been the best time to do that, he told the truth. I think that's a good quality to have, just to be open like that, because there are people in the media who, when they're being interviewed by the media, they will not give the full truth. They will be very reserved and not give anything. But the fact that he spoke his mind, without fear, I think is a good quality to have, especially in a leader and your ultimate leader, for this baseball team being the manager. And I think that's a good quality to have. Um, Now, the big the thing that can be perceived as negative, and a lot of Giants fans have an issue with this, is him saying that history could have been changed if the article had been, the circumstances were different. They and the people were speculating maybe he doesn't want to be the manager of this team. Maybe he wants to go back to Tennessee. And I don't think that's true at all. I mean, why would he have agreed in the first place? And everything that he's done since then has just been, even though he so just for context, the reason people might think that is because this guy's always talking about Tennessee, constantly bringing up what happened at Tennessee. He's always giving examples. His references are always to Tennessee. And that's understandable because this guy's never done it at the major league level. So when somebody asks him a question, he needs to give evidence for that and for his answer. He's going to pull something from his experience at Tennessee. That's just natural. I mean, that's his area of expertise, is what he had done there. It makes sense. Now, he does talk about it a lot, like probably too much, especially since he's moved on. But I mean, he has such deep emotional ties there. It's for him, the analogy that FP Santangelo used, and I think it's very good. It's like he hasn't gotten over his ex yet. And even though he's with the Giants, there's, new relationship. And even though he did leave Tennessee, he wasn't fired or anything, he's still got, to continue the analogy, he's still got feelings for Tennessee. He hasn't gotten over his ex yet, and he's going to talk about that. And that's all right, as long as it's not excessive. And that's part of the reason that people think and speculate he doesn't want to coach the Giants. I think that's baloney. That's not the truth at all. The effort he's gone to reach out to players. I mean, he traveled to Korea to meet with Jung Hoo Lee to go on a tour, media tour there. He flew to the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico and Venezuela and all of these other countries to just talk to the players and meet them immediately after being hired. And, that shows, that speaks more to me than him constantly talking about Tennessee, because, he's making the effort. He's putting in the effort. He's doing the work. He's trying his best. He's trying his hardest. And he is focused on the Giants. And I think people maybe are overreacting about that, thinking that he's not 100% invested. He's 100% invested. I mean, come on. You've seen this guy. He's such a hard worker. Um, I it's a very odd situation, like I mentioned, because you don't see, especially people, especially managers, just air out their feelings like that. But I think that can be perceived as a positive. Like this guy is um, strong. He believes in himself, and he's not afraid to voice his opinion. Um, he's just not to be messed around with, and he felt like he had. I don't want to say he had been wrong, but he definitely had an issue with the article and current circumstances and maybe the way that had gone. And Ken Rosenthal probably agitated him a little bit, and he was in a very emotional state, and he just said those things. Um, I think it's just a really odd situation. I think you can draw some small positives out of it, but I think it's overreaction to make any wild accusations about his allegiance, just based on this thing. Um, I mean, going forward, I think it's best to just move on, try and get some action in. But I mean, it's definitely something to talk about. I mean, we're talking about it right now. We go on for 10 minutes about this, but man, I really I have no problem with it. I don't think it's a huge. I don't think it's a good thing, but it's definitely not a bad thing. It's more of a neutral thing that you can build on in the future. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't. I don't really have a problem with it. I don't think there's anything else. I mean, I'm sure there's something else I'm forgetting. I'm trying to remember right now because I don't want to move off this topic and then, um, you know, I just want to. I don't want to move off this topic and then forget a huge point. So I'm just reading this article really quickly. Um, no, dang it. Okay, stupid. Yeah, I mean, I think I might remember something else. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's good that he's vocal about it. Um, I think I'm just repeating myself, so we're gonna move on here. I really hope I didn't forget anything. I'm definitely as soon as I finish recording, I'm gonna remember something. I'm gonna be like, oh boy. Um, let's move on to the Olympics though, because we had the qualifying for the playoff. All the matches were today. I purposely delayed this recording so I could get all these in. So we're gonna start with Switzerland and Italy. Switzerland beat Italy 3-0. They are going to be playing Finland in the first round. Germany over France 5-1. Germany will play Slovakia in the quarterfinals. Czechia beat Denmark 3-2. They will face Canada, and the big one for the United States, Sweden over Latvia 5-1. So we will face Sweden. That is I think out of all those matchups, I think we have the hardest one. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, Czechia is a good team. Canada is the best team. Germany's also very good. But I think Sweden is probably the best team to have not received a bye into the quarterfinals. I still think we can beat them, but Sweden is a very good team. They have lots of NHL players. It's going to be tough to beat them. It's probably going to be our biggest test yet. We'll see how it goes, though. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess that's it. I really hope I didn't forget anything in the Tony Vitello um, article or just the what happened there. I don't think I did. I hope not. I would watch the Splash Hit Territory with FP Santangelo and Susan Slusher. They did a great job talking about it. And if I have more thoughts, then I'll talk about them tomorrow. And I definitely should have written it down before. I said written it down before. I definitely should have written it. I got a biology test to study for, so I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.